Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we should be live. If you can hear me, just let me know. Drop me a comment down below. Obviously, if we are live, and I should be streaming. 2 seconds. That's fantastic. Cool. And just gonna make a quick note. Ask me anything on Amazon. Drop your comments down below. Drop your comments. Tom knows spell. So if you're here, drop me a comment. Obviously, I'm going live. I might be getting Gavin to come join me. But it's going to be the ultimate live before I go quiet for probably like a month because I'm going to go back to the UK. But obviously, drop your comments down below if you're here. I'm just going to literally just get this streaming onto, should we say, Facebook. So 3, 2, 1. We should be streaming. And I will obviously do that as well. 2 seconds. Right, fantastic. So cool. So if you're here, obviously drop your comments down below. I may have Gavin join me thing. So John Spencer has said, hi, Tom. Hey, John, how are you? How are you getting on? Obviously, give me a little bit of an update on your guys' businesses. How are you getting on? Obviously, any questions, drop them down below. I'm here to help you out. So what are we doing this week? I think I talked about it last week. It's the same kind of things for me this week in regards to JGL02 has dropped in. Hey, JGL02. Hey, Tom. So for me and my business, what are we looking at? We are doing, obviously my purchasing manager signed off, I'm really happy with. The one change that we're doing with my sources now, which might be helpful for you, is might be helpful for you is, again, the 3 questions we're asking. What went well? So every day my sourcing VAs are signing out. When they sign out, we're asking the question, what went well today? What didn't go well, and what would you do differently? And the reason why this is important, if I give you a really good example, last week, one of my sources, like on Wednesday, they sourced a store, and then on Thursday, again, they sourced the same store. And I looked at the results from the Wednesday sourcing, and they were really bad. And I was like, why the hell are you spending so much time on, like, I get the Wednesday, but I think it's stupid that you're spending more time on Thursday. And for the week, they just didn't hit their target. So I was like, we're not really learning. We're not learning what's working. So that's a really important thing. Like when we source, what's important. And then number 2 is the fact that when we try and hit our targets, we've got to be hitting them. They're really, really important. So that's an important point. Like looking back on the week, what are we learning? What's not learning? And if I share with you just in regards to our overall analysis, there is a couple of brands that we've been buying really heavily, and now they're just crashing all the time. So we're like, we need to stop buying these, or if we do, we need to make sure there's really good margin in them, and they're really hard to find. Why? Because too many people are getting on them. There's too much competition now, and we're like, that brand needs to change now because there's just too much. So for you, again, always learning, like asking questions, what went well this week, what didn't, what would we do differently, and adapting and changing. So I hope that makes sense. John Spencer says, hey, Tom, or she says, he didn't. He says, Tom needs to learn how to read. Right. What's the best company to use when shipping products from USA to UK? I'd probably I don't know the exact answer. I'm just going to throw names out there. DHL, FedEx, like all the big names. If you're going to ask me, I would look at like an international shipping company or ones that do that and ask the question. Ideally, you're probably using a prep center, or if a prep center is doing the same, you can ask them who they use. That would be the important one. So I hope that makes sense. Let me just kind of jump through. John, let me know if that answers your question. You've got any more questions? Jesse says, hey, Tom. And I just noticed Gavin's jumped in. 1 second. So I'm going to drop Gavin. Yo, Gavin. You've got no camera on. Where are you today? Where are you right now?
I've just finished my salsa session. I'm just walking back to my flat now.
Fantastic. So if anyone's got any questions, maybe about salsa or about Amazon, and you want to ask Gavin as well, put them in, and I'll get them to ask as well. So if you're in the Facebook chat, I can see you, but the comments won't show up, so I'll copy them across. So 1 second, drop your comments down below. Question for you, Gavin. Salsa isn't Amazon. Why are you doing salsa?
So I've always wanted to learn to dance since like a young age. Like I've always enjoyed clubbing, and I enjoyed it when I was younger more because I didn't really care about how shit I was at dancing. But the longer I go out and do things, the more I feel like I should just I should stop just being a lazy git and just get on with it and learn it already. Like if it's something you enjoy and you're not learning it properly, then what's the point? So yeah, I'm just learning it properly, and it's fun. Like not everything is about Amazon. Amazon itself is designed to give me the lifestyle that I want, and the lifestyle that I want is the freedom to do what I want.
Good. I'll kind of share this. Appreciate drop your questions down below, guys. But I'll share this kind of thing, which I've noticed with myself and with you and other people around me, is the one thing I really see about you is you take the action, you do the work, and you get the results, and you do it really well, which is like great. And I've seen that obviously the travels. I've seen it with your business, which is amazing. And I think you pick up on the certain kind of like, guys, you know, like when you share Amazon tips, or when people hear Amazon tips, like here's what you do, like you do it and you do it really well, and as a result your business grows. And you know,
and I do it quick.
Yeah, and you do it quick. And I think there's one saying which I'll come back to. If there is one bit of advice I can recommend to anyone in Amazon to kind of remember, and I think this is the most important one. And by the way, I am bad at this as well. And I think the difference between you and me, Gavin, is that you do this much better than I do. Is that this quote I heard: most people know what to do, they simply don't do it. And I think the difference between like how successful you are is not the fact that you know what to do, is whether you actually do the work and the hard stuff. So like, you know, I've done salsa, but I found it really challenging for a time. Whereas you're like doing insane volumes. Everything you do is just like quick change, bang, all in, make this happen, get the result. If you don't get the result, no, next one, until you find what works. And then you just really drill down on it. And I share that to anyone. Like Tony Robbins says it, most people are dabblers. They dabble in business, they dabble in bundles, they dabble in private label or wholesale. And it's like, you should really just do less and do it really, really well and go all in and do it quick. So I agree with that one. Gavin, question for you. Mark asked on Facebook, who's the better salsa dancer, me or you?
Definitely me, and that's definitely my ego talking. So I can't fucking salsa. I have 1 week of practice, and that's it.
That's good. Yeah,
Tom has been doing it for like 4 years.
Yeah, slightly longer. So, but at the rate you're going, you'll be really good. I'm getting worried. I'm upping myself again. Right, back to Amazon. Jay says, hi, Tom. Gavin might be able to help this one. Hi, Tom. Do you advise to hire a VA via your own scheme for a beginner? I just want to start sourcing products as I recently started my Amazon account. So I think there's two questions there. One is about, do I recommend using my service? Which, of course, yes, I do. But I think the next question, which you're really trying to ask, is if you've just started selling on Amazon, should you hire a VA? And I will let Gavin answer that one. Gavin?
I'm sure I answered this question last week, and the answer is always hell no. And to be honest, whoever's telling you to get a VA when you've only just started Amazon, all they're trying to do is to get money from you. Why? Commission. Like, the answer is simply no. If you only just started, you don't even know the business model yourself. If you don't know it yourself, then how are you supposed to teach somebody your business when your business doesn't work? So before you hire anybody, your business has to be profitable, and you need experience in the game. Now, experience is relative to the amount of time that you put in, but as a starter, you can easily get to like £10,000 or dollars per month doing it yourself, and then maybe you want to hire a VA. I would say if a VA costs more than 10% of your profit, then nah, it's too early for you to get a VA. And I just made that figure up though on the spot, just saying.
Yeah, no, I'd sense check that figure. I haven't really thought about it, but I think and I think so. What Jay was asking wasn't like someone's recommended me to get one. He's asking, should I get one?
Okay.
And by the way, it's like a really common question. Like, you know, by the way, sourcing for products is hard. I understand that it takes time. Agreed. And by the way, like, it is hard because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and obviously a lot of people are doing it, and they make the easy parts disappear. There's no profit in them. It's because it's hard, it creates a barrier to entry, and then now that gives you profitability. So yes, looking for a VA isn't something that people look at, but I think for you, got to really think about is just, should we say, building a business whereby you know what works in your business for you, and then once you've done that, then fantastic, you can hire a VA, and they will continue to do more of what is already working for you, and you can guide and support them. And as much as we talk about sourcing, you know, here's what you need to do: go look at sneakers or go do bundles, for example. That's fine, but it isn't as simple as that. You can't just say to a VA, go do bundles or go source sneakers. It's like, what sneakers, what are we looking for, where do we find it, what's a good sneaker and what's a bad one, and why, can we explain it? That's a really, really important point. So I share that with you. If you're thinking about VA, understand what really works and prove that it works through results, then hire someone else to do it. And I think definitely do that. So Jesse has come in and says, I don't know if it's only me, but does everyone else notice a lot of price tanking in the UK, regardless of a great sourcing and good Keepa chart? What's your advice on this? So Gavin, I think this is a really common, it always comes in, especially in the UK marketplace. What are your thoughts on that?
A great Keepa chart on its own does not actually mean anything, because it could be a great Keepa chart, but your website is Argos. Then it doesn't matter, because you're all looking at the same spot. The only thing what really matters is, what are you doing differently to everybody else? How are you getting your niche sorted? How are you going an extra step further? If you all buy from the same websites, how can you get it cheaper from that website compared to everybody else? Is there discounted gift cards that you can use? So it's all about going an extra step. Price tanking will always exist, and it commonly exists through the normal strategies that people use. Basically, the barrier to entry that you have is not good enough. And what I mean by that is, if everybody can do it, then it has a very low barrier to entry. If you're trying to call retailers or small local shops, work out deals with them, get them to order you products from their suppliers, like retail, wholesale, then that's more complicated. Not many people will do that. Now, I understand if you have low capital, that's a lot harder to do, because the more purchase power you have, the easier things are. But ultimately, if you look at the same places as everybody else, you will get the same results as them, which is crying on Facebook groups about tanking.
You're so mean, Gavin. He's so mean.
Am I?
No, you're not. Because you're saying crying on Facebook groups. So I don't think that's right. Yeah. By the way, I'll say this. I said this privately to Gavin, and I have a lot of respect for him. Gavin is just very honest. He just talks the way he sees it, which I really value, because I think it's an important trait, and I very value that in you. And I said that to you as well. So thank you. And I think coming back to Jesse's question, which is about price tanking in the UK. By the way, the UK is a smaller marketplace than the US, and I think Gavin is 100% right. If you are sourcing product and there's a good Keepa chart, fantastic. But if you can right mouse click search and find your product, and it's from a well-known brand, and it's got a big 20% up on the in the top, it's very unlikely you're going to get that product's going to remain a good Keepa chart. So there are many factors to it, and I think the only way we can really understand is by, again, coming back to what went wrong, learning how can we improve, and what do we need to do better, and again creating a moat. How is your competitive advantage? If it is literally we go to Argos and sell and buy those products and sell them, that probably won't work. But if I have to call up the local retailer and place a specific order, and because I placed a big order, they'll give me the manager discount, for example. Now, most people are not going to do that. So therefore, you're probably going to have a really good stable price. So I hope that is important. And Jesse actually came back, Gavin, by the way, and said, that's great advice, Gavin. Honesty is the key. We need to kick ourselves at times and start thinking outside the box. I absolutely love it. So really, really good. So well done, Gavin. Thank you. Right. So what we got here? So JGL2 has said, hi, Tom. My VA just started her 5th month and doing well. And I'm on holiday at the end of June. As considering teachers in the process of purchasing deals that they can post replens to the deal sheet. I can tell them how many units to order, and they can order them. Do you think this is sensible right now, month 5? If so, any tips? This would only be temporary while I'm away, less than 2 weeks. I think there's this is about really what you're talking about is getting a buyer. So this isn't really like a purchasing manager doing the analysis. They're literally just placing the order through. If you trust them and Gavin's dropped off. I think his internet's gone. If you trust them and you've seen they're able to fill out the sheet and obviously go through the buying process, then I think you're fine. There's not really a big problem there. I would use a credit card especially a credit card with a limited spend on it. Maybe virtual credit cards are a really good one. Use that, and that's just going to help you out. So that's something that we do, or that you can do. And I know a lot of people do, and it does help out. Is Gavin, you back?
Yep, I am back.
No, he's back.
I just wanted to touch on one more topic regarding the price tanking. Actually, a Keepa graph that is too good is more risky than a Keepa graph that is less good or looks a bit shit. And the reason is, like, if it's too good, everybody wants to buy it. But if it's a Keepa graph where the listing is starting to recover, but it's still not yet good, but you know everybody's buy price, then you can buy it now when it's like 5% ROI or margin, whatever. Then you wait 2 weeks to get it into Amazon. And at that point, it could be 30 or 40% ROI. So understanding the market cycle of a Keepa graph can be really important in building out your own edge. Because maybe you stop focusing on like products that have to look amazing, and instead you start focusing on products that don't look so amazing, but will do once everybody's sold out, because it's tanked, and every tanked listing at some point will recover. Now, your goal then will be to find fast-selling items that have this market cycle quite often, and then you can buy them, and then just sell it during very specific times. But obviously that requires a lot more Keepa knowledge, and you could argue maybe there's like a little bit more risk to it. But like Keepa is the most necessary skill for an Amazon seller, is to analyze Keepa graphs. So it's something you should always be looking to improve anyway.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And even when you look at that, like, oh, I might buy when the the ROI is like 5%, but you might do your analysis and say, well, the worst it is 5%. It never loses that. But if I get the timing right, I can get some really good margin. And we've had these conversations where it's by like, you're never going to lose money, but you are flipping a coin to say, do I make 5% or 50%? And if I get the timing right, I can get 50%. And you're like, cool, that might be good. Like, you might be like, I'm really happy with that. And it sells really, really fast. If there's a good predictable pattern and you feel confident. But again, it's like coming back to your point earlier, what is my edge versus everyone else? And if it's just the same as I'm just buying good Keepa charts when they're there and from the store, the sales that everyone else can access to, they're probably all going to crash. I think that's a really good point. JGL2, let me see if that answers your question. Let me know down below. I'm not sure if that's come through. So let me know if you answered your question down below. Anthony Peter said, I currently do unique bundles because I can't find wholesalers that have enough pricing to compete with standard Amazon listings. How can I find genuine wholesalers with low enough pricing? And I think Anthony, guessing this is like the USA, but it doesn't really matter. USA, UK, that's fine. Gavin, thoughts? I'm just going to pick your brains today.
Like, this is just a numbers game, unfortunately. You really have to go through hundreds of suppliers, and then maybe the item that you have is only 10-15% ROI. So then it becomes a negotiation. How many can you buy to get the price that you want? The reality is, the better your relationship with the supplier, the better your deal will be. But while I say that, there will still be very good deals from different wholesalers. It's just going through enough of them to find the products that you want.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's and again, like, you can what do you call it? You can when you're thinking about this, is like, if you're doing unique bundles to make an edge and the underlying products probably are not profitable, then your edge isn't going to be that good. But if your underlying products are profitable and you do a unique bundle, now you're getting way more profits. So and again, like you said, it's just a numbers game. You've got to keep going. So I think one tactical tip I'll give to this, Anthony, is have a look at the products. And if you find sellers selling them below what you can buy for, or like, what your buy price is, what your margin has to be, or like your costs are. So if your sellers are able to sell it below what your break even is, then it probably means that they're buying it cheaper than you. So what you then know is that there is a supplier out there who is cheaper than you. So your next question then comes is, how do I find them? So that's where, like Gavin's kind of, you just got to go through hundreds of sellers. So when you're finding a product and you're about the same price as everyone else, you're probably getting it for the cheapest. But if someone's significantly lower than you can look at the Keepa chart, go like, there is a supplier out there, and who is it? And if this guy's consistently been on the listing at that price, you're like, I'm not getting the cheapest price. So then you go searching for the hundreds of suppliers. That's super important. So Anthony said, I see FBA sellers items at crazy low prices, and they spend aggressively, or I spend ages finding new wholesalers and simply can't get the price that makes sense. Got to keep, I'm guessing Gavin is like, got to keep going, got to negotiate pricing. Would that be right? Any other tips you can add there?
I mean, it's just a grind, man. Like you just have to go through the grind. Like maybe you can, as I mentioned before, talking about the Keepa graphs and what you see. Maybe you can change your perception of the Keepa graphs and see how you can make it work with the Keepa graph, rather than does it work or does it not. The answer is never black and white. It's always nuanced in the gray area. Money is made in the gray area.
That's cool. No, it's good. Hey, I like it. Cool. Yeah, and agreed. And I think like you're trying to look at those things where it's hard to compete against you. So like, you know what's going on, or like, and you know, if you go to a wholesaler and they give you pricing, like that's not the price you have to pay. You know, and again, that's the gray area of the negotiation. Like, oh, if we do this, I think I was watching Corey Gannam, and he's talking about his one of his wholesale to negotiate better pricing. The way he does it, and I absolutely love this, was whenever he places an order, he sends in 2 POs. One is the PO at the order right now, which is like $4,000, fantastic, and then you'll send another PO in, which is like $40,000. But it'll be like there are 5 lines on there that if you can get them at this prices, this is how much I'll buy. So the salesperson on the other end is like, do I process the order for 4,000 or do I process the order for 40,000? Because obviously they've got targets, and then the 40,000, you know, it's got like lower prices than on the price list. So it's like if you want to process it, do it. And I thought, I love that, absolutely love that. I thought it was a really good like way of trying to not negotiate price, but saying if you do this, this is what I will do. And you can just process it, and I'll make the payment. So I thought that was absolutely incredible. So I like that one. Dan mentioned, do either you guys import products into the US? I don't. There's a couple of like times we found like OA suppliers in other parts of like Mexico or Canada that we've purchased from. But generally, it's not been that great supply, or you've just had other problems. So generally, all my like OA and even wholesale is within the USA itself. By the way, it's a bloody huge marketplace. Lots going on. Gavin, about yourself?
I'm trying to work out how I can buy from China or Hong Kong from the main point of manufacturer, but that's still a work in progress.
Right. And by the way, like again, you're talking about niches. So I think that's really important, like finding out different areas. So really, really good. JGL2 says that's. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Go on, Gavin.
If I go in with 100 or 200 grand to spend, it's kind of like, will they work with me? Well, then the question is, are they allowed to work with me?
Well, you said I still remember having conversations with Dan 1000 ASINs, and he said to me, like, I remember the interview with him. He was like, my first order, like when I go to distributors now or manufacturers, my opening order is we want to buy a truckload, which is like 100,000. I was like, damn, good amount. So absolutely brilliant. So they're just little levels of the game. Absolutely love it. So really, really good. JGL02 says, that's great. Thanks, Tom. Definitely trust my VAs. I see themselves part of my business. So feeling more confident now going ahead with that. And that's doing buying. So absolutely love that. Guys, drop your comments down below. Gavin, you got time for like one more question? How long you got? I appreciate you got to drop off.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes.
And what are you doing in 5 minutes, can I ask?
Then I have... No, I've already done that. I have a call with my fitness instructor.
Oh, it's a new fitness coach. I love it.
Yeah.
Question, just a side note, by the way, if anyone's just kind of watching, and I will jump back to the questions. What have you got? Like, you've got Spanish lessons, fitness instructor, you've got salsa lessons, you've got the gym as well, like, and obviously you do Amazon. It's like, why so many instructors and like mentors and things? Aren't you just like spending money like there's no tomorrow?
It's just easier to make things happen and learn quicker. Like, for me, the time is more important than the money. Then the question is, if I pay money, can I get there quicker? If the answer is yes, then I will pay. But I mean, I can do that because my business is pretty damn big and awesome.
Yeah, agreed. And I probably use a different word. Not so much big. I don't think your business is that big relative to a lot of Amazon sellers, but it's very profitable relative to your spend. So therefore, you have a lot of free excess cash, which you can then invest in skilling up even more, which you can invest in getting your business even more profitable, and even your life more profitable, I think is the way to look at it.
Yeah, because skills last forever. Money does not. Money only exists to be spent, but the skills that I learn from the money spent will last a lifetime.
What was it? I think it was I've forgotten his name. Julius Caesar, when he died, he was like, there were 3 wishes he had on his funeral. He was like, I think it was like lay lay money or like I want my hand shown with no money on it or anything. And it was the whole point was saying, show that you can't take the money with you when you die. And I thought that was really interesting. And I saw another meme the other day, which was like Jeff Bezos with bald hair, and it's like, if the richest man in the world has no hair, then all the money in the world won't help you. So I thought that was quite funny as well. But again, it's like all these things. It's like you can't take it with you when you die. So it's fantastic. Right. AO says, what's your best tip for sourcing OA deals in the UK? Gavin's probably going to say, go to America. That would be the best tip. What would you say, Gavin?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to block all the major websites. All major websites. Keep a list of websites that all tank and then block them all. And then force yourself to adapt. And by adapting, you should build out a niche that not many other people are doing. Like, you have to go through the fire.
Cool. Yeah, agreed. I think, yeah, and I think if it's easy to find, everyone's going to do it. And by the way, I know this from my own experience, but I think if you can find your niche, that's going to be so important. It's going to help you out in like getting products which don't tank. And I mean, Jesse talked about it in the past, where it's that's a big problem right now. Like it looks like a good Keepa chart and is buying, so or sell it crashing. That's the important point. Right. Anthony Peters, I appreciate your answers, guys. Part of me thinks that the big sellers that are selling much lower than me can't be getting it from the UK. Are people getting prices from the EU by any chance? That's such a wide question. Like, we have no idea what you're selling. We do not know the EU pricing. You've got to keep looking. And I'm guessing this is for like a product that Anthony wants to get cheaper. Gavin, any thoughts?
I think the answer is really simple. People will get products from wherever they can get it cheapest. If you think they're getting it from EU, they are probably getting it from EU.
And and what's really interesting is like, if you think they're getting it from EU, why are you thinking they're getting it from EU? Is that because you found it cheaper in the EU? So therefore, why are you not buying it from the EU? So I think coming back to Gavin's point is people are buying it wherever they get cheapest. So the question I would be asking is like, where can I buy this cheapest, like period, wherever in the world? And I think that's a really, really important point. Like, looking for the cheapest logs. Right, Gavin, should I let you drop off now?
Bye-bye.
You need to go.
Yep.
Stay safe. Bye. Right, Gavin has dropped out. So I just want to say thank you very much, obviously, to him. And obviously, do give him a shout. Obviously, it's nice for him to drop by. So that's really good. So if you guys have got more questions, drop them down below. I will continue answering. Got a couple more minutes and then we'll go through. So Anthony, let me know if that answers your question. Again, you've got to be thinking about like, where can I buy this cheapest? Where can I buy the product? And when you're thinking about the product, don't just think about that product specifically. Try and find other products of that brand and see if there's anywhere else selling them. So when you're looking at wholesalers like in the EU, UK or EU, find them. That's so important. Keep looking around. So Mortal Zara says, what is the best way of opening trade accounts with wholesalers who don't deal with VAT sellers, even though some other new companies open accounts them knowing that they are new, and what's the trick? I think if a company does not want to deal with non-VAT registered sellers, by the way, because VAT registration, I think is 90K now in the UK. So if you are not doing more than £90,000 per year in sales, you're not going to be VAT registered. So therefore, they're like, we're just not interested. Why? Because you're probably buying £45,000 worth of goods in a year, less than that, because you resell it to make 90,000 in sales. They're just like, we're not interested in dealing with you. We don't want to deal with the small people. We want to deal with the bigger sellers. And like that, by the way, in the grand scale of trading, 90K is like nothing. Like it's really little. Or 45K in a year's spend is nothing. 45K in a year is 4,000 a month, which is like, it's like in a business, like even when we look at our suppliers, we're like 4,000 a month on a supply, like really, it's like it's just not even really worth it sometimes. So I understand why the suppliers are saying no, I'm not interested, I do not want to sell to those customers. And I think you just get yourself to VAT registration as quickly as possible. By the way, you can do OA until VAT registration. So easy. We did 3.4 million in the UK purely OA. So there's no reason why you can't do like OA to get to VAT registration, then open up the wholesalers. Just be mindful, like that barrier that you're getting right now is really good, because it means those wholesalers are not selling to OA sellers, because, or should I say, OA sellers are under VAT registration, which is a big problem for you if you're in the UK selling, because then a lot of people are going to be like, they're going to get the same products as you. Whereas that is a really good point. Mortal Zara, let me know if that answers your question down below. And guys, if you've got questions, please drop them down below. Honestly, I am here to help and support you out. Just to let you know, I will be here next week. And then I'm going to take, should we say, 2 weeks off, I think it is, maybe a bit longer, because I'm back to the UK. I'm going to be flying back to the UK next week. So I literally fly back about 11 o'clock on the Monday, or no, 10 o'clock on the Monday? 10 o'clock on the Monday night from Mexico City time, land in the UK on the Tuesday, and then I will be in the UK. Right now, we're looking about a month. But I'll be up at the Systemize Summit, which is happening on the end of May. Tom needs to get it right. And that is happening on I believe, Saturday the 25th. So if you haven't got your tickets, get them already. That'd be really, really good. And also you can meet me. Gavin will be there as well. Ahmed's going to be there, and lots of other sellers. I know some of the other sellers are coming, and I think you'll be very, very impressed. So I can't tell you who, because it's not my place to say. But if you are in the UK, I definitely recommend going to that. I think that'd be a really good event. Yeah, and that'd be really important. JGL2 of GGL02 has dropped in. So quickly go here. If I was to reach out to an online retailer to inquire about buying large quantities of a product at a set price, I usually have to order low amounts with money off code. Should I play out a narrative that I supply smaller retail stores, actually I'm not saying on Amazon, or should I just ask to order set number of products? I wouldn't play out the narrative. I think it's too much. I would literally just reach out and be like, because basically what you're doing is RFQs, request for quotation. Hi, can you give me a price? Or like, hi, we want to buy 1,000 units of these. This is the target buy price. Can you let me know if this is possible, please? Thank you very much. Like, super simple. We can pay by bank transfer, no problem. So absolutely fine. So, and it might be just like with delivery to, I don't know, I'm getting the Systemized Summit, so a bit like Scunthorpe, for example. So that's all you do. It's so simple. It's just like this product, this quantity, this price, and any other like general, not like, it's got to be really, really simple. So if you think about it from the other side, think about it from like my perspective. Like obviously I'm a seller right now, and if I change, if I'm a warehouse owner right now, and I normally deal with or like let's do Zara, your clothing, for example, just because Mortal Zara got it there. So if you do clothing, then if someone say, hi, I want to buy 10,000 units of this clothing item, I'm like, at this price, I'm like, even before I look at the price, I'm just like 10,000 units, that's caught my attention. Number two is the fact that most people, if they're like, hi, can I buy this unit at this price? Like, they're no, buy it from the website. I'm not interested. Even if you did want to buy 10,000, and that would be emailed too, it's not helpful. It's the 10,000 units which is going to get me really interested. And I'm also going to look at the price and go 10,000 units at that price. Like, I might not know the price off the top of my head, but I know the 10,000 units is interesting, and I know the price is a lot of money. And I know when I multiply these two numbers together, that's a significant sum of cash. General rule of thumb, if you're doing less, if the units multiplied by the price is less than £1,000 or dollars, don't even bother. You're wasting your time. Like, it's kind of insulting if someone says, can I get a discount on one purchase? You're like, no. So if it's more than £1,000 or $1,000, ask the question. If it is more than 1,000, great. And the bigger it is, the better. Send out the messages, follow up. And by the way, don't give up until you get a yes or a no. Like, you never know. It might just be that the wrong person read the messages, and then when you follow up 5 times, they go, oh, sorry, I'll email it to our wholesale department. And you're like, okay. And then the wholesale department says, yeah, sure, no problem, we can do that. But it might just be that one person in the, who got the original email forgot to forward it on. And so therefore you're now missing out, not because it was a no, but because there's an administration error. So be mindful of that. But top tip I'd say for you, hi, not even like, hi, this is Tom from Fast Track FBA, wasting your life. Don't even bother doing that. Hi, we're looking to buy this product. You can do a web link to their web store. This units, this buy price. Can you let me know if this is possible, please? That would just be it. Tom, done. And like, you can have your signature in there and they can click. I think that's so simple. And we've done it many times and it's worked very surprisingly, especially in the UK, where there's a lot of those hidden things. And by the way, that's like a hack that no one ever talks about. So definitely do that one. So JGL2, let me know if that is helpful down below. Mortal Zara said, thank you. OA-wise, trying to find profitable websites. Most of them are saturated because of the lead groups. Do you provide a one-to-one call? If so much. So great question. Do I provide one-to-one calls? Yes. How much? $600 per hour. I really value my time. So If you want to do it, that's absolutely fine, but just make sure it's going to be valuable for you and you've got very specific questions. I won't lie, I've had people go, can you teach me Amazon on one-to-one calls? And I'm like, I will, but it is $600 an hour, so I probably don't think it's very beneficial. And they're like, why so expensive? And I'm like, that's because that's the rate that I charge, because I'm investing in my time in my business when I'm not doing these calls. But every time I do the call, it does not help my business. So I want to make sure it's a good investment and it's worth it for me in that time as well. But when you're talking about saturated because of lead groups, I kind of get your point. But earlier on, you were saying about I want to get wholesale as well. There are a lot of deals out there, and again, if you're able to find, so let's put it this way: when you're doing OA, thinking about things, limited supply, things that leads groups won't jump on, or they can't jump on because they don't know how to do the checkout to the standard, or the offer's kind of going, should we say, really quickly. Those kind of things, like a coupon code that other people don't know. Yes, we use tools like Honey and Keepa, for example, but if you have a coupon code that no one else knew about, or that there's an old one that still works, fantastic. Or you have found a deal that right mouse click search won't find, that's going to be beneficial. So again, looking at all these different points, it's just going to help you build your business to scale. And I would strongly recommend that, like figuring out what your competitors can't do. And by the way, your lead service groups are it. And as much as you talk about it, I'm trying to find profitable OA websites. Most of them are saturated. I think when I last looked at our database of the lead service, we had over 10,000 websites in there. It was like insane. I was like, oh my God. And I promise you, the lead services are probably doing the top 50, maybe 100. That's it. Like absolutely. Like I know the deals coming out of my own lead service, and I think most of the time we're on the top 100. So there are so many websites out there that you can do. And again, I come back to the point that Gavin talked about earlier on. What's your competitive edge? If you are finding, Tom's Hardware, for example, Tom's Hardware store.co.uk or .com, and you're calling me up, hey, Tom, do you have like this product? No. Okay, cool. Thanks. Question for you. Like we do a lot of like buying for hardware, and I'd love to know if you've got some like big orders we want to place, for example, with insert brand name here, are there any chance I could drop that through to you and see if you're able to get the better price for me? Like that'd be really appreciated. Tom goes, yeah, sure, like not a problem. Like drop me an email. I said, oh, by the way, it won't be anything small. Like minimum order would be like $1,000 or pounds per unit. Obviously, if you can add your margin on, that'd be great and be competitive. Then let me know. So voila, now you've just built a indirect wholesale relationship, or maybe even brand direct relationship through a Tom's Hardware store, because Tom buys from like, I don't know, I can't think of a tool name. I can't think of a tool name, like Stanley Tools, for example, directly. So therefore, because of that relationship, you now have, that with your Tom's Hardware store, you now have that. And that's going to give you a profit, which no leads list could ever get hold of. And you're like, man, this works well. By the way, if you want to know, I'll share with you. There's a guy who I watched a presentation at within, oh my God, watched a presentation at in Miami Sellers Conference, who basically did exactly that. He would go round to little mom and pop stores. He would look at their product list or look at their products. He would scan some of them to see what the prices are. And if they were profitable, then he would ask, hey, I buy a lot of these. Any chance if I get any other products that I like from these brands, I can just drop you a message and see if you can give me a better price. And they would go, like it'd be a minimum 1,000 orders. They would go find it with the manufacturer, or they would speak to he would speak to the shop. The shop would then speak to the manufacturer to see if they can get the quick order in, and voila, he's now getting better prices than you'd ever buy on anything else. So absolutely incredible, lots of different opportunities, but you've got to be thinking outside the box. If it's easy, probably everyone's doing it. If it's hard, there's good opportunity. And by the way, general rule of thumb, the harder it is to do, the longer the niche is going to last, which means your profit can last, which means you can scale it better. But if it's like, we just go get this 20% coupon code and find products, that coupon code is going to last a day or two. That means your niche is going to disappear. So be mindful of that. JGL02 says, appreciate it, no problem. And Mortal Zara said, aha, smart. Absolutely love it. Guys, let me know if you've got any questions. Drop them down below. I have actually just run out of coca. I'm drinking coconut water. So that's my coconut water after the gym. I've done my gym session for the day, so I'm super happy. So let me know if you've got any questions. We'll drop them down below. I've got a few more minutes and then I will drop off. But as I said before, I'll be here next week, and then after that, I'm going to be taking a break from doing the YouTube lives, just because I'm back in England. I haven't seen my family for over a year, so I wouldn't mind spending some quality time with them. And obviously, like, having that time is really, really so important to me, and to do it as well. So I'm going to just. Jean mentions it. Hello, where can I submit a CV if I'm going to apply as a VA at Amazon? Well, I can't obviously talk about Amazon directly, but I can talk about us as Fast Track FBA. So you can go to fasttrackfba.com. At the top, it'll be like resources, work for us, and if you can apply there. So really, really simple, and that's fasttrackfba.com. I think we're onboarding or taking on VAs all the time, so it's a really, really good opportunity. So just be mindful of that. That is something that you can do as well. So guys, if you've got questions, drop them down below. Otherwise, I will wrap it up and obviously support you guys next week in, should we say, the final one, probably for a couple of weeks. But again, I think the one thing I will say to you, and the learning behind all of this kind of live today, is reflect on what's working, reflect on what's not working, reflect on what you're going to do differently, and then always try and look for how can we get better at what we're doing. Like, how can we build our moat? How can we build our niche? What can we do that's going to challenge, should we say, our business to get to the next level, which is about doing things other people are not doing. And by the very nature of doing things other people are not doing, is that it's just competitive. It is hard. That's one of the key things that you've got to really think about. Like, welcome the challenge, welcome the hardness. That's so, so important. Right, JGL2's, there we go. Mortal says, when you started from scratch, did you spend more time doing OA or RA? Never really done RA, always OA from day one, always OA from day one. So I hope that helps. Glad you're getting time to spend time with the family. Yeah, agreed, and appreciate all your help. You are welcome. Absolutely enjoy it. Yeah, I only spend like probably 2 weeks a year with my family, so not very much. So I think as I do not live in England, I live in Mexico. I think it's really important that when I do actually go home, I probably spend some quality time with my family because I see them so little. But right, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. I just want to say thank you very much for everyone joining. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. Obviously, I will see you next week, and then obviously I'll be taking a break after that. But everyone else, have a great day, stay safe, and I'll catch up with you next week. Bye.